Well, good morning, friends. If you were here last week, you'll remember that I came out of the closet. Most of my life, I've been trying to convince people that I'm young and hip. But last week, after scrutinizing my hairline and birth certificate, I owned up to being a geezer. Now, several of you were very nice about that afterwards and came up to me and said, "Oh, Phil, you're not a geezer," which was very kind. But when I said, "No, really, I am a geezer," you said, "Well, maybe now that you mention it." I would have preferred a more spirited defense, more strenuous objections, but I guess Manifesto, the stuff I want to do before I croak. The first thing being my determination to acquire less and give of drawers. Wouldn't you have loved to have been his child? Think of that as a final gift. What a wonderful and thoughtful man. Joanne and I were in the garage putting around a couple weeks ago, and she noticed over my workbench an old skeleton key hanging on the wall. Object lesson. You know, we're now multimedia here at Fairfield. This key, she said, "What's that key for?" I said, "That was the key to my grandparents' house from when it was built in 1832. My grandfather carried that key in his pocket from 1929 to 1985. I can't get rid of that key. It's the biggest key I've ever seen. I mean, it's just huge. It's like the vault key to a medieval castle in Europe, like something out of Beauty and the Beast. And I can't get rid of it because my grandfather carried it with him every day for 56 years. I remember playing with it when I was a child. So here I am stuck with my grandfather's house key from 1832. Do not do this to your children and grandchildren. Stop acquiring. Start giving away, preferably to those in need or those just starting out. The Swedes call this debt cleaning. And at the age of 62, begin paring down their possessions and passing them on to the next generation. There is an important spiritual and interpersonal principle at work here. The more time we devote to our material possessions, to their acquisition, their storage, their upkeep, the less time we have to spend with our children, our grandchildren, and our friends. The less energy we have to be helpful, the less money we have to help those in genuine need. We will invest our energy and attention on things that offer nothing in return. Our possessions require ever larger homes, which require ever larger incomes, which require ever larger investments in time. And we will keep doing this until it occurs to us that we have spent our lives encumbered by the things we own. Think of that word encumbered. To restrict or burden someone or something in such a way that free action or movement is difficult. How often have we felt that way? How often have we felt restricted or burdened to such a degree that action or movement is difficult, if not impossible? Shouldn't the pattern of our lives as we age tend in the opposite direction? Shouldn't we be freeing ourselves, becoming more flexible, less saddled with material obligations to better focus on our interior well-being and the needs of others? acquire less, give more. I have a buddy, a fellow geezer, and like me, a motorcycle enthusiast who, like me, now has more motorcycles than he can ride. And we were discussing this issue not long ago about the number of younger motorcyclists, how they're just not there. The number of people riding motorcycles, especially among younger folks, is in decline, mostly because motorcycles have become so costly that younger people can't afford that. So my friend owns 7 motorcycles, but it's recently occurred to him that he can only ride one motorcycle at a time. So he decided to give away 5 of the 7 motorcycles. I said, "You're going to sell them?" He said, "No, I'm going to give them away." So he began his motorcycle lottery this week, carefully identifying younger riders who lacked the resources to buy a motorcycle, and he phoned them and told them he had a present for him and set up appointments at his house. And when they came to his home, he presented them with a motorcycle. Now, my first response to this was, how do I sign up for this? Where do But he would present him with a motorcycle, and I saw him this past week. And I said, "Well, how are things going with your motorcycle giveaway? Have you had a good week?" He said, "You know what? It's been the best week in a long time. It's been an absolute joy." He said, "No one believed it, and they all wanted to give me money, which I refused to accept. I just gave them the motorcycle, signed over the title to them, and there they have it. It's been the best week I've had in a long time." Advice from a geezer: acquire less, give more. What possessions and resources do you have that burden you, but might be liberating or helpful to someone else? I know our objections. We tell ourselves that we pay good money for our things, that they have value, that we shouldn't just be expected to give them away if we no longer need them. But that is precisely the time to give our things away, when they still have value, before they are broken down and worthless, when they can still be useful to someone else. Giving something away for free that we pay good money for doesn't mean we're poor stewards or bad at business or suckers. It means we have realized that our need for something has come to an end, that it is time to put that item to good use in hopes of improving someone else's life. In light of that, acquiring less and giving more might be the most Christian thing we can do. It is a double gift. As we free ourselves, we help others. It's a double gift. I love the end of the movie. It's a Wonderful Life. Remember the end where Clarence the Angel says to George Bailey, "No man is a failure who has friends." Always remember that line. Today I have another line to add to that. I hope it becomes as well known as the George Bailey line. Friends, no one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of others. No one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of others. I'm going to try a new experiment this week. I invite you to join me. When I go out into the marketplace that you were talking about, and I see something, I've always asked myself in the past, can I afford it? Can I afford to buy that? But now I'm going to ask a new question. Can I afford to keep that? Can I afford to maintain it? Can I afford to own it? Can I afford to devote the time it will need to be kept up? Can I afford the time I will have to devote to that instead of devoting it to the things that matter most to me, my family, my friends? Can I afford to keep that? Acquire less, give more. Turn and greet friends.